Okay, good morning to all. It's a pleasure to invite Thiago Dias from the Rural University of Pernambuco. He will speak about equations for symmetric central configurations. And I look forward to hearing about the classical algebraic geometry that is involved in it. So please, Thiago.
Thank you, Jair. And thank you, Annette, for the invitation. And I will talk about a little bit about equations for central configurations, and I will talk about different sets of equations, polynomial equations for central configurations, and I will discuss about the usefulness of these sets in the context of the finiteness problem. Okay. And I will talk a little bit Laura-Andoyer equations, CayleyMenger equations, and if I have time, I will talk a little bit about Dziobek equations and the Blocher equations. And let me start. Okay. Then consider n mass m1, mn, real mass, and consider n points x1, xn in Rd. We suppose that these points interacting under the potential, and the potential have this form: UA equal to 1 over 2A plus 2 times the sum MA, MJ, R, AJ up to 2A plus 2. And this A, I suppose that this A belongs to Z over 2 minus I exclude the case when A is equal to -1, and if A equal to -1, I consider the potential U -1 in X is equal to the sum over MA MJ times log of Rij. In this case, we suppose D equal to we consider this potential only when D is equal to. This is the potential for the vortex problem. Then the equations of motion are MA times XA double dot equal to sum with j equal 1 from n, ma, mj, xj minus xa times rij up to a. This is equal to the derivative of the potential. A is equal to 1 to n, from n to n. We write Rij equal to capital Rij equal to Rij up to 2a, and gamma I equal to the sum of capital Rij xj minus xi. Okay. Then we can write the central configuration equation. The central configuration equation is given by gamma A is equal to lambda times xi minus c. When c is the center of mass, I don't write the equation from the center of mass. This is classical, and this lambda is equal. This lambda is different from 0, and is the same for all i's. Then this is the classical central configuration equation, and in the point of view of algebraic geometry, it's difficult to work with this equation. Then it is a problem to find a good set of polynomial equation if you want to work with algebraic geometry. And if we use, for example, there is a lot of approaches. There is approaches from algebraic geometry. You have the resultant approach. I don't know if I don't know if I'm writing approach correctly, but you have the resultant approach. You have the, for example, Jacobian approach. You have Grobner basis approach. You have BKK approach, and more recently, Albuí-Kaloshin approach. Then this is the approach. You have a lot of different set of equations. One side you have techniques, and on the other side you have set of equations. Then there is a practical question. For example, if you use Laura-Andoyer equation, Laura-Andoyer equation set is more efficient with which technique is more efficient with Laura-Andoyer equations? You have Dziobek equations. And I claim that Dziobek equations is more efficient if the classical Dziobek equations is more efficient. The Jacobian technique is the best technique for the Dziobek equations. For example, you have the classical CC equations. And recently, Albuquerque and Kaloshin used these equations, the classical CC equations with no modifications. Albuquerque and Kaloshin show that the Albuquerque and Kaloshin approach is very efficient with the classical CC equations. Then, and in my experience, in this symmetric case, Laura-Andoyer equations is a good set to work with symmetric central configurations. But we have some shape equations in the mutual distance. For example, CayleyMenger determinants. CayleyMenger equations are equations for the shape of the central configurations, because these equations depends only of the mutual distance. Then I will discuss a little bit about Laura-Andoyer equations. Then I will start with the definition. A central configuration X is symmetric if there is a group G, a subset of the orthogonal group of Rd. This configuration is contained in Rdn, such that the action of G in the configuration X is equal to X. This is the definition of symmetric central configuration. Then we fix a case of interest for fixing ideas. Let's consider the D+2 CC configurations. These configurations are considered first by Leandro, and these configurations has D bodies at the vertices of D-1 regular simplex of length 1 and two bodies on the line passing through sorry, to the center of the simplex. And orthogonal to it. Okay. One examples, we have examples of these configurations. Let me show, for example, these are two examples of G+2 CCs. Okay. In here we have a simplex of dimension 1. In here we have a simplex of dimension 2. This line passes through the center of the simplex. This is an example of symmetric CC, and this is in, for example, this CC is invariant to the action of S3. We see S3 as a subgroup of the orthogonal group of R2. Okay. And this subset is invariant by Z2. We see Z2 as a subgroup of the orthogonal group of R1. Then this is D+2 CCs. These CCs are Dziobek central configurations. We have in here 5 bodies in R3. This is a Dziobek configuration. In here we have 5 bodies in R2. X is Dziobek CC if the number of bodies n is equal to the dimension of the configuration. The dimension of the configuration is the dimension of the smaller affine space that contains the configuration. Then this is a Dziobek configuration. And then now we will discuss a little bit about Laura-Andoyer equations. Then let x equal to x1, xn, a central configuration, a Dziobek configuration. Then we can consider the matrix of the configuration, AX. The matrix of configuration is given by in this case, we can see that the dimension plus 2 is equal to the number of bodies. Then we write the matrix of the configuration. Okay. Then we can consider subconfigurations of this configuration. Xi is the configuration obtained by X by removing the body I. We can consider configurations, and these subconfigurations also have the matrix. The matrix of this configuration will be obtained for the matrix AX by removing the last row and the column I. Then the matrix of configuration Xi is given by this is the matrix of a subconfiguration. Okay, and we consider the determinant of this submatrix, and these quantities omega xi hat is given by the determinant of the matrix axi hat. Okay. Okay. Then we are able to write the equations for the Laura-Andoyer equations for Dziobek equations. Laura-Andoyer equations Dziobek case. The Laura-Andoyer equations in the Dziobek case are given by Lijkl is equal to mk ik minus rjk plus delta L minus ml rl minus rjl delta k, where delta k is equal to -1 up to k plus 1 times omega. This is the determinant of the configuration, omega sk hat. Then this is the Laura-Andoyer equation. In the literature, this equation appears in particular case, but I don't know if this equation appears for every number of bodies. This is the Laura-Andoyer equation for all number of bodies, and we can consider the general Laura-Andoyer equation. Consider central configuration of dimension d minus L. Sorry. Central configuration with n bodies and dimension d minus L. Minus 2. Then the general Laura-Andoyer equation is given by Laj K1 KL is equal to MK1 K1 minus RJ K1 times delta K1 delta K2 KL plus MK2 times RA K1 minus RJ, sorry, K2 here, times delta 1 K2 is omitted, K1 K3 KL plus this here is minus, sorry, plus this here minus, this here is plus and minus is alternating. Then we finish with MKL RA KL minus LJ KL delta K1 KL minus 1. And this delta K1 KL is minus 1 over K1 plus K2 plus KL times omega of the subconfiguration of X when you omit K1, K2, KL. This is the general Laura-Andoyer equation for all number of bodies and all dimension. And the technique is similar to the this technique uses wedge product, and this the technique is based in the one in the Mokios paper, generic finiteness. For the Dziobek configurations. You need to take care with the wedge product, with the signals, and these guys use this minus 1 over this, normalize the signals, and you can consider this general Laura-Andoyer equation. And these equations are good for this equation is good in the presence of symmetry. This equation is good because if Jx, if X is symmetric, if X is G symmetric, G induces action group in the set 1 to n. Then action group alpha sigma in the set 1 to n. Then we have this action, and note that R of sigma A sigma j is equal to Raj, because this group is a subgroup of a orthogonal group. And this is a determinant. Then we have also delta of sigma K1 sigma KL this is equal to delta of K1 KL. Then conclusion. The Laura-Andoyer equation is invariant under the group action. L sigma A sigma J sigma we have one observation. If x is G symmetric, if x is G symmetric, then the number of different Laura-Andoyer equations, LA equations, is the number of the orbits, of the action of G in 1, 2, n. Then for each group symmetry, we can obtain a set of Laura-Andoyer equation adapted to the symmetry. Exact most. Because some equations can be equal. An example, D equals to CCs. Then for example, the orbit of the equation, we can consider LAD plus 2 the set of Laura-Andoyer equations for the Dziobek case. Then we can consider a group action that differs to CCs are SD invariant. And SD is the permutations of the set 1, 2, D, because the D first points of the configurations are in a D plus 1, D minus 1 regular simplex. Then these DCCs are SD invariants, permutations of 1, 2, D, because we have a sim, for example, for this configuration is invariant. This 3 plus 2 CC is invariant under the action of S3, the permutations of 1, 2, and 3. Then we can define a group action from XD square LAJKL from LAJKL. We have a permutation G. We have a LA D plus 2 and A D plus 2. And we have this group action. This is a standard action. Sorry. Then we can consider the orbit of LAJKL, and this is equal to L of I will put this. This means this with G in ST. And if we have the different orbits, we have the set of Laura-Andoyer adapted to the symmetry. And the different orbits are, we can check these orbits, the different orbits are but if you some of these equations are trivial, then we have only two equations for 2D central D plus 2 central configurations. Then this is the Laura-Andoyer set for D plus 2 CCs. But if then conclusion, given a group G in a D, it's possible to compute a reduced set of Laura-Andoyer equation adapted to the symmetry. Okay? Then this is one conclusion. We can do this with a computer, we can do this by hand. In this case, I compute this by hand. But it's possible, using computer or not, it's possible to use the set. And my timer is over. I know I will talk a little bit about huh? Someone talk something? I don't know. I will talk firstly about the Kma Game Matrix. The Kma Game Matrix of a configuration is given by this R12, R12, 0, R13 square, R1n square, R1n, anyway, you have I'm writing this matrix wrong. Sorry. Sorry. 1. Then we have, this is the Kma Game Matrix for central configuration. And we have a fact about this matrix. We know that delta x is d minus k, when d is the number of body. I use n is the number of body, n minus k, if and only if the rank of the CayleyMenger matrix is equal to n minus k plus 2. N is the number of bodies. Okay. Then, if X is a configuration with n bodies and dimension delta X equal to n minus k, then the rank of CayleyMenger matrix is equal to n minus k plus 2. This implies that all minors of size n minus k plus 3 are equal to 0. This provides polynomial equations satisfied polynomial equations in the mutual distance satisfied by CCs. Okay. I will give an example in my computer. Okay. I'll give an example for my computer. For example, suppose that we have with a configuration with six body and dimension 2. Okay. Let's consider a configuration with six body and dimension. The Kma matrix is 4. Okay. Then all minors of size 5 of the CayleyMenger matrix are 0. Then we can obtain mutual distance equation for this central configuration. In here we have an example in the computer. In here we have the mutual distance for central configuration. Let's move this A, this B. This is the mutual distance. I define this mutual distance. In here, I define the CayleyMenger matrix for these bodies. I don't know why this is let's reload. I'm sorry. Okay. This is the CayleyMenger matrix. Then we are supposing that the configuration is planar. Then the rank of this matrix is 4. Then all minors of size 5 are equal to 0. Then we have a set of equations This is a set of polynomial equations in the mutual distance for the configuration. This is a very huge set with a lot of polynomials. If you suppose a certain kind of symmetry, you can reduce the complexity of the system. Okay. And this is a huge system, but this is a determinantal variety, a variety defined by determinants. Then the algebraic geometry knows a little bit about this system. Then it's not so hard to compute a Grosvenor basis for the set. This is a Grosvenor basis. We know the dimension. The dimension of the set is 5. And this is a work in progress. Then I'm interested in understand the algebraic properties of this variety. But this is a huge set, but there is some theory from algebraic geometry for these varieties. Then this is a a work in progress. I'm trying to understand the sets. There is another sets, but uh, uh, I want to know if this CayleyMenger determinantal algebraic variety can say something in the direction of the finiteness problem. Maybe not, maybe yes. Then I'm studying the six body problem with symmetry or not, and I'm trying to find a good set of equations to work with algebraic geometry. My time, I know that uh, I'm using my time is over. Then I finish this talk in this way. It's a work in progress. Uh, I don't have a huge result, and I'm using this talk to discuss about new ideas to work with to work in the finiteness problem in the case of six body. There is a lot of approach that with I mm, no discuss. No, I don't discuss. Um, I talk in the beginning of the talk. There is another approach. The approach, the better approach in this moment is the algebraic approach. The BKK is a good is a good approach also. And is this. Thank you for your attention. And is this. Thank you.
So thank you, Thiago, for your presentation. I open for anyone that wants to ask questions now. So if not, I have one, but let's see who else wants to ask. Okay, let me get started then with a question. Thiago, while we are talking, I enter a little bit in the internet. I'm not, certainly a selection mechanic expert, but I see that this is a very noble, genuine area, and people have worked. Can you make any comment about the importance of this for central configurations and homographic solutions, and also if those techniques could be used for, say, constant curvature matrix, like Diaco was proposing to do celestial mechanics and curved manifolds. Can you make some comment, or anybody else like Alain Albuy could comment on that?
Yes. Then the first reason, the more basic reason is the central configuration are the only no explicit solution for the any-body problem, Then central configurations are initial condition of homographic orbits. Then homographic orbits are the explicit solution for any body problem. Then central configuration is important. And um, let me another reason. Let me think. Another reason. Mm, uh, a, a configuration formed by bodies whose orbit start or end in a full collision tends to a set of central configuration. This is a result of Sandman. Okay, and another reason for the importance of central configuration is every change in the topology of the integral variety with you have an integral variety with constant energy and constant angular momentum, and every change of topology in these integral varieties are provided by central configurations. A lot of people work with this. I know Roberto, Ismail, Aui, McCord, Meyer, and the others work with this integral variety. And central configurations have some theoretical importance in celestial mechanics. See, and you have another question. You question me about the importance, and you made another question. Jai, I know I don't remember.
The other question is that because those techniques in Euclidean spaces,
it's possible. It's possible. There is a recent work of a Chinese guy. I don't remember the name of this guy, but this defines Dziobek configuration in the sphere, for example. Okay. And you can think in Dziobek equations in the hyperbolic space, and it's possible. I have shown that it's possible to obtain finiteness in these constants by using Jacobian or using Molecule approach with the resultants. It's possible.
Okay.
To finiteness. I never tried, but the Jacobian is similar. We appear cosinus and sinus, but I think that it's possible to prove finiteness for Dziobek configurations, and it's possible to define configurations in other dimensions, okay? Other dimensions in this space. For example, with constant curvature, it's possible. Neon ellipsoid, I know that you like ellipsoids. It's possible to define, for example, Dziobek configurations in ellipsoid. It's a good problem, I think. In the vortex problem, for example, in vortex problem in the ellipsoid, for example, it's possible to define Dziobek configuration. I don't know if this have physics interpretation and something like that, but it's possible.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else want to make a comment? Question? All right, then, okay, go ahead. No, please go ahead with the question. So if not, let's thank again to Thiago. Annette, can you now take over?